Hello, guys. It's Talia Ali, your favorite modern woman, and today we're going to be doing another reaction video on a video that went viral from some men having a very candid, open conversation about things that they prefer or things that they think about women. This video was very long, but of course, only a clip of it got cut out and went viral. So we're going to go towards that clip in the video because, as you guys know, podcast videos are usually pretty long. So we're going to go a little bit before the viral portion and a little bit after because I really don't think people saw the context of the video. And I think if they did, they might be a little bit less harsh on these men because I've seen people going in on old boy. And we also want to see what some of the men that he was speaking to had to say about his opinion as well. So without further ado, we're going to go and look at the video.
Synergy together. And do you feel like it is like me fighting for?
So just to let you guys know, this guy, I don't really know these guys' names, and I'm sorry for that, but this guy, apparently he's like the most successful guy on the panel. He has a lot of businesses. He brings in definitely several hundreds of thousands of dollars. He is a single 26 or 27-year-old man, and they're asking him basically, does he have any standards as far as it comes to women's income that he wants to be his wife. He knows that he does want to have a wife and kids, and they're basically asking him about what he wants in a woman.
Because you feel like what you're doing is more important than like what I'm doing, rather than can we create a shared vision? If we can create a shared vision and you feel like it's competition because you're focusing on doing X, Y, and Z, but like my end goes like, in most cases, unfortunately, we lap circles like financially. Right. So it's like, really, what we're working on the same thing. If I'm working to make sure that we have hundreds of $1,000s coming in on a regular basis, so you can sit your behind at home, I can sit my behind at home, and we can take care of our kids. Versus like, oh, because of what I'm doing, I think is just as important. But it's like, all right, if I am not working or I give up the different business and stuff I have going on, can we live the same lifestyle?
That makes a lot of sense. I hear a lot of because we work with young guys, and the young guys, now I hear from a lot of young guys that they want a woman who's making this who has reached a certain income threshold. So income wise, not talking about vision, not talking about just long term things that they want to do, but income wise, their income.
So I already see a bit of contradiction, but not really a contradiction. It's a contradiction on the overall um, male perspective, male perspective that I see being pushed right now. But he didn't necessarily say that's his preference, right? So he's saying that he sees a lot of guys saying that they want a woman to make a certain amount of money. But obviously in the viral clip, if you did see it, you already know what he said. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. So, as far as them kind of creating, what I really think these men are trying to do is create a certain type of structure for our community to help men and women navigate who they want to be with. But I feel like it's very flawed, and I feel like it's very contradicting, and it's really confusing women to the point where we're just like, you know what, I don't even care. I don't even care. I don't have to be anyone's wife. Like, you guys don't know what you want. That's how we're feeling right now, right? So we're gonna continue to watch and give them a chance. Just calm down. Let's see what they have to say.
Threshold.
I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'm fighting. I literally do everything in my life so that I don't have to have that as a metric for you. And there's so much more. That's why I was like, the passion is way more important than the income. Like, I don't care, because if you start having my kids and I want you to be at home, that income is gone anyways. So who cares? Like, I want you to do stuff that you enjoy, but like, I'm not pressing about like, oh, you need to make 300, 400K a year. The amount of people that can even make that kind of income is so minuscule.
That's what realism is kicking in at.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's like, hypergamy is real too. So like, most like women date across and up social dominance hierarchies, and men date across and down. So as men rise up, you have nothing but more options. As women rise up, they have very smaller options, and also a lot of the things that get them to those points negate them. The guys that are in the same space,
they don't want that.
They don't want it because they're like, oh, you're combative, and like you feel like you need to be a boss and all this other stuff, and like
you telling me what to do.
Right. And I love you. And, I think you might be great, etc. for somebody else, but you probably need a Robin.
It's crazy.
You don't need a Batman.
I actually had a woman. Tell me. She says, literally, she says, I got a good job. I make very, very good money, and she says the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You're right. Right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
Ooh, and shit.
So there it is. There is the viral post that women were getting their panties in a bunch about. When I seen the viral post, we'll talk about how I viewed it. I didn't like it. And even though I think what he's saying has some truth to it, I feel like he made it more about what she accomplished versus what the other man said, as her feeling like because she has accomplished those things and she has that money, that she can use that to be the boss in the relationship. And obviously, they're looking for a gender role relationship, right? So I'm not gonna act like I don't understand what they're saying, but when it comes to him right here, I do feel like he made it more about her just simply having these accomplishments versus how women like that may tend to be. And that's the only problem I have with it. I do realize that, like the other guy explained it, the more men move up, they have more options because they're going down. And the more women move up, we have less options unless we're willing to go down. But if we're the type that's rude or feel like we can run over men just because of the money we make, then 9 times out of 10, if it's actually a genuine dude who is actually masculine, he's not gonna want to stick around and be pushed around just because of your money. Now, if he's a dusty and he's looking for a come up, then he might deal with that, but it's going to be a very toxic dynamic. So I'm not going to say he's wrong, but I do understand why women took it wrong, especially just from that small clip. Let's see what else they have to say.
And what it is these, because and it's the thing. I'm not blaming
the women are gonna hate him for that shit. They are gonna hate him for that. I can't wait to put this shit up.
They should love me.
He said it, ladies.
They should love me for this shit because the women, I don't think they understand that, and I don't blame the women for that. I blame these weak ass Negroes out here.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. They didn't put this part in there, right? So this is how I'm taking this part. As far as what they were talking about prior to this and the commentary I made on that part, right? We're talking about men who can actually take care of you. Let's remember that. We're talking about men. This guy, obviously, like I said, he makes several hundred thousands of dollars. So when he says it, it makes sense. I don't know what how much money the other guy makes, but let's say he's successful too. I don't think as successful as this guy, but let's say he makes enough money to take care of a family. It would make more sense, right? Especially if you're not looking for like a power couple dynamic. My problem is, and like I said, with the overall standard that these men are trying to push and the contradiction behind it, you have men who make $45,000 a year talking like this. And it's just like, at this point, it's like, so let me get this straight. You don't want a gold digger. You don't want someone who's doing well. What am I supposed to be doing until I find this husband who is very, very high in demand and there's not that many of them who can take care of a family? What am I supposed to be doing till then? You get what I'm saying? Like they already, I don't think I played this in the video, but when they were speaking of success, they were saying that a lot of parents push their kids out the home too fast. So as a woman, even if I do desire marriage, because we all don't even desire that, but let's say we do, where am I supposed to be doing if I can't live at home with my parents and I can't be too successful, but I can't be broke and you don't want me to need you too fast? It just all has to line up. I feel like some of these men are putting way too many, basically what they accuse us for, just having all of these stipulations that just don't match. They just don't make sense. You get what I'm saying? So that's my only problem with it. But hey, if you got the money to pay to play and you telling me that you're gonna take care of us, I still have to trust you. You still have to be a certain type of man for me to trust my life with you. Imagine coming out of a marriage with absolutely nothing. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if these guys even feel like they're obligated to do that anymore. But I think they should take that into consideration.
Fair.
Like, because these women, they don't want to wait. You got this social media phenomenon, and they see this lifestyle. They don't want to wait to find you to build the lifestyle that they want, so they
Correct.
go out and build it themselves. And
Mhm.
when they build it themselves, it's like, yo,
What I need you for.
what?
And see, it's
So, like I said, I think a lot of men assume that all women want marriage and they don't believe women when they say that they don't want marriage. I don't know why, because a lot of them also say that some women just want to get married and they don't want to be a wife. There's plenty of women out here who aren't striving to be a wife. And even the ones who are, they have opportunities to create a lifestyle, not even knowing if they're going to find a husband. What's wrong with that? Now, I understand what they're saying. If she's throwing her money around and trying to throw it in your face, then yes, that's not attractive at all. Like I said, unless you're using her. But I think these guys need to get a little bit more clear on what do they expect us to be doing. Are we supposed to just be like a twiddling our thumbs, waiting for Prince Charming to come save us? It doesn't work like that. This is the US. This is American culture. This is 2022. And I saw some women saying that they wouldn't even buy a home by themselves as a single woman. And I just think that's crazy. Like, do you guys see rent prices right now? I bought a 4 bedroom, three bath house by myself and I'm not married. And if anyone who feels like they're intimidated by that, then they're just gonna have to be intimidated. My mortgage costs less than your rent and I refinance. I don't even tell men that. There's been men, I think most of the men that I've went on a date with, they don't even know I own a home. They don't even know that. So I guess it doesn't come off how they're thinking and how they're taking it because I don't feel like that's important. And it's really not. I did the best thing for me. I don't feel like I should throw that in a man's face just because he doesn't own a home. Do you guys get what I'm saying? We're going to continue to watch.
it's some of that, and it's also upbringing as well, because it's a generational thing that's happening. Like right now, we're experiencing the generational wrath of what has happened prior. Like is what we're seeing, because in these households, these women are being taught to prioritize their education. They're being taught to prioritize their job and their work.
They've had to.
They're being taught.
I'm throwing that out there.
Now, I didn't play this part, but prior to, he said his parents have been married for 30 years, right? So he comes from a two-parent household, but he can still acknowledge the fact that women have to do this stuff. We have to. What else are we supposed to do? Like, I need y'all to stop acting like there's a whole bunch of high value, alpha, high earning men walking around. You guys already told us that we need to lower our standards because that's not normal. So if that's not normal, then why wouldn't we try to get things for ourselves? Why wouldn't we have to be independent? Him having a married family, how am I trying to say this? A two-parent household with a 30-year marriage can acknowledge that. But a lot of these guys who grew up with struggling moms, whose sister is struggling, whose aunt is struggling, whose uncle and daddy is running around on women like no tomorrow, can't acknowledge that. And that really just blows my mind. And that's how I know which men really have our best interest at heart and which don't. And you guys need to please avoid listening to men who don't.
They've had to, especially women that look like us, primarily because like they are the least protected in the United States.
And he knows his mom is protected, but he knows that the collective of Black women are not protected by the collective of Black men. Why does it take him to do this? This is the type of man that I feel like a lot of women should listen to. I don't know if he has his own platform, and I'm going to look deeper into it. And of course, he can have his flaws, but his logic and his mentality is not like most Black men. It's just not. Even though he is privileged, even though he has his stuff together, he's aware, he's conscious, he knows what's going on out here. And he's not going to sit there and pretend like he doesn't.
Which makes sense. And they have, so what has happened is women have fallen out of trust with the masculine.
That's another thing that I brought up before. We have to trust you to do this. This is our life. This is our life. Do you not understand that? Like, and it's so sad because the way we think as Black women, which I used to be guilty of it too, we'll trust you more with our wound than we do with um our livelihood and our life, right? It should be the opposite. But at the same time, some of these men are just giving their seed out to anyone. And a lot of people will try to make it seem like it's because we're promiscuous, it's because we're stupid. But as we all know, other cultures are just as promiscuous as us. Somehow they don't have as much single mothers and as much struggle as we do. And of course, we can bring into it the system and all this other stuff. But our sexual discipline has nothing to do with the system. And a lot of us women have to learn the hard way how not to interact with men and how to not trust them because a lot of us wasn't told that. Yeah, we were told to go to school. Yeah, we were told to have your own. But as a child, I was never told you need to get married and then have a kid. All I was told was don't bring kids back here when you're a teenager. You get what I'm saying? Or don't have a baby when you're broke. So I did end up getting pregnant when I was in my early 20s in a situation that wasn't ideal, even though I made my own mind up that I would like to be married before that. But I still didn't do exactly what I wanted to do because I wasn't being as responsible as I should be. Neither was he, right? So, yeah, I know that was a lot, but I just appreciate someone really acknowledging the state of our community. You can't just say stuff and not give it context. And that's the whole reason for this video. And that's what he's doing, giving his other statement context about Black women having to be raised to go to school and get careers. And I don't think the other guy was going to give it context. He was just going to repeat what everyone else is saying online and act like it's something negative.
And because they have fallen out of trust with the masculine, they have become the fucking masculine.
Yep.
And that is the biggest problem now. And that's why, a lot of these guys, I mean, this is going to be really controversial, but I just spoke to a brother that was talking about a guy that he knew that's in the league. And this guy that's in the league, he made the statement, and this is, oh man, it kind of hurt me. Yep. He said, I would never date another Black woman again. That's what he said. He said, because these white women, they were groomed to be submissive. They were groomed to be feminine, and they were groomed to be this way to their man. Now,
I feel like a lot of our brothers pick and choose when the praise goes to the woman versus the man, and when the criticism goes to the woman versus the man. What do I mean by that, right? He's saying these white women were groomed to do X, Y, and Z. Who were they groomed by? Many would say their mothers, right? How come their mother had the privilege of doing that, right? Because of the dad in the home. And even if she got divorced and she happens to be one that isn't a single, isn't a two-parent household or whatever the case may be, she still has other examples everywhere around her for her to look at. Do you get what I'm saying? We don't have that. And you guys keep blaming that on us. So basically what y'all want to do is capitalize off of the group of men that y'all always complaining about, what they have groomed their daughters to do, and you want to capitalize off of that. But ironically, the single mother rate for white women with Black men is 92% versus our 70%. So, yeah, I am confused. I'm very confused. I don't understand what you guys be getting at when you compare us to them so much. I really want you guys, I want to find a video when a guy is sitting down comparing how their men treat them versus how we treat our men. Because by the time we get to you guys talking about what we do and how we act, 9 times out of 10, it's a response. So the way women respond to love and care and provision and protection, any woman on the face of this earth is going to be the exact opposite to how we respond to abandonment, disrespect, degrading, embarrassment. That's just human. Stop dehumanizing Black women.
Here's the thing: white men actually, experiencing some of this bullshit too, because their women are also becoming very masculine and feminist and falling out of trust with their masculine, but they still have preserved.
Not so much.
They still have preserved this level of femininity and submissiveness in some women, where now a lot of the men are targeting those women specifically to have this type of household that they want to have, and it sucks because me too. I have this one young lady in my life. She's
Said I had her like she's a fucking Pokemon.
she's
I got this one young lady.
Gotta catch him.
this is a fucking
Y'all know what that means. He's banging her.
this is a holographic Pokemon because she's one of the most fucking successful people I know in general.
Awesome.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And she actually, so funny situation, a good example. This is my first time ever dealing with a woman of this economic stature before, right?
Okay. Talking about like 300K plus.
That's fair to say.
Plus.
Yeah.
Plus. So the thing about it is, when I'm considering, right?
She got more businesses than you, Phil.
She would buy your ass.
Hey, she might be in that Porsche club, but you ain't know it.
She might own that motherfucker. Now here's the deal. I was never intimidated by it. I knew the leverage I had as a young, beast. So I
Put the Slayer thing on.
Let's bring up some more contradictions, shall we? So, leverage is, I love that word. I love the word leverage. We're going to look it up. Because Black people like to change words, and I hate it. You know how many words I've looked up lately because I felt like people were using words wrong? Leverage. I hate when I search a word and it's not like definition. Leverage. The exertion of force by means of a leather or that's like a actual lever. Use borrow capital for an investment. Okay. Use something to maximum advantage. The organization needs to leverage its key resources. So basically, leverage it's some sort of credit. It's value. And it's not always monetary. It can be anything. So his leverage is that cop. I don't even use that word. I promise I don't use that word. That's what he's saying his leverage is, which is pretty funny because that's usually a feminine leverage, right? Let's keep watching.
I knew the leverage I had in the relationships. I was never really intimidated. I was never, coming with any of that weak ass energy. And she actually offered to, go out of the country and, kind of cover the costs and just take me out of the country for my birthday.
What? Oh, he's a bad bitch. He got flued out. Baby girl said, I'm gonna fly you out because that thing is fire. What does that sound like? That sounds like an IG model to me. Mr. What his shirt say? I think, Mr. Alpha Energy. You getting flued out. Okay, I see you.
Oh, very nice. I've had one of those.
We go out of the country.
He had one of those.
We go out of the country, and there's this moment where I'm handling emails. I'm on the phone, and I could tell, her energy just gets off, and her energy just kind of she kind of storms off, goes to the bathroom, whatever the case is. And one thing, fellas, you got to do when you sense that energy's off, address that shit, right? Which is what I did. I addressed it.
All undesirable behaviors.
And I asked, what's the situation? What's going on with you? And she was like, the first thing she said, listen, I went ahead and I spent money to be on this trip and to bring you out here. And I just feel like you're just on your phone and you're not paying attention.
Ooh.
So now here's the thing.
Ooh.
Now, as soon as that happened, I just wanted to take out my debit card and just smack the shit out of her with it.
So here's my thing, right? You have a whole bunch of men online going in about women who go on trips and don't give what is expected, which is usually sexual, right? Now, I'm pretty sure she probably already been giving him some before they went on the trip. So women expect something a little different. She expects his undivided attention and quality time. And she felt like she wasted her money, and she's not enjoying the trip as much as she intended to, and she thinks it's his fault, right? So it's kind of the same dynamic, but I think this is the quality that they're speaking about that a lot of women with money like that tend to have. Here's my question. If you're so alpha and you can afford it, even though just because she makes way more money than him doesn't mean he can't afford it, because clearly he said he wanted to take his debit card out and smack it in his face. So he could have easily said, like, no, you don't have to pay for me. I'll pay for it. He could have easily said that. And if he did, she could have easily still felt the same way, whether she spent money or not. I don't think she should have said it like that. I don't think she should have said, well, I spent my money. That's stuff I say to my son. Took my son to the jump part and he was sitting there pouting. And I was like, you wasting my money. I would never say that to my man. I would just say, like, hey, I don't feel like you're paying attention to me. It's not about the money. So I do understand what they're coming from, but let's see if he enjoyed getting flued out and being a bad bitch.
Because first of all, the thing about it is I didn't need any of that shit, right? I didn't need it.
It's a gift.
But see, what it reminded me of was when when your mom walk in the house and there's a bunch of lights on, and your mom is like, "Turn the fucking lights off around here." You don't pay no fucking bills, right? It's like she pulled that trump card, like she pulled her dick out and put it on the table on me, and that shit just was very demasculating to me at that moment. And I remember thinking in my mind, I would never fucking do this again. Like I literally at that moment, I made my mind up and I said, I will never in my life put myself in this position to have a woman tell me that or have that leverage over me.
Yeah. So the leverage switch, right? He thought his body parts. I don't want to say the C word again, and I'm not saying the D word. I'm not saying it. He thought that had so much leverage, and then she pulled her leverage over. And if you notice, he's calling her leverage, which was monetary in this situation, her PP. He's calling that because he said you put your PP out on the table, and that was your initial leverage. So now he knows how it feels when someone is holding something over your head. And he said, I'm never going to do this again. Women feel the same way. There have been women who have let men take care of them, and it may be a toxic or manipulative man, and they see how it is when you are a little bit vulnerable and someone takes advantage of it or holds it over your head because they did something to you. And we feel the same way. I'm never going to do this again. So what do? We get out here, we grind and we produce and we provide for ourselves. It just has to happen. Somebody has to do it. You get what I'm saying? So if we didn't meet our Prince Charming yet, who's going to do it? Are we supposed to just be sitting here broke and looking crazy? Because that's attractive either. So that's basically all I wanted to get to in this video. I'm going to put the original video in the description box for you all to see. And please let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think that higher earning women are attractive, or do you not think that? Do you want a higher earning woman, or would you prefer a traditional housewife? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, deuces.